Season on the line, 4th and 11. Butka looking downfield, throwing, incomplete, broken up at the 10-yard line. And Old Bridge is headed to the NJSIAA Central Jersey Group 5 Championship game.
There's one in the flat. Good catch that time by Ransom. Ransom with a lot of room. And a good block by Delonzo down the field. And Ransom is gone. 57 yards to the house. 2-2.
Swung on and miss. Strike three. St. James Smithtown has done it. They are the 2025 New York State Little League Baseball Tournament champions.
Drops back, throws all the way to his right. Has a man down the field, and he's got him! First play of the drive, touchdown, New York Green Wave! Sanioki's season on the line. Goal to go from the 2. Kyles looks to run with it. Pitches it to Sip. He grabs it. He's in for the touchdown.
The final 25, and they're neck and neck. Kane looks like they have just a dash of a lead. Salisbury taking first. What a race.
Live from Great Kills Little League in Staten Island, New York, the PDF Sports Network welcomes you back into coverage of the 2026 10U Little League Baseball Championship. In our final game of pool play here on the major field, a pair of 2-0 teams battle as South Shore Little League takes on Massapequa Coast Little League. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, soon to be joined on the call by Nicholas Pavona. However, we did find out our final 2 semifinalists earlier tonight here on the major field. West Nyack Little League, by virtue of their win over Twintown Little League, improves to 3-0 and clinches a spot in tomorrow's semifinal round. On top of that, Twintown, by virtue of runs allowed, emerges from a 3-way tie with Mechanicville, Stillwater Little League, and Vestal Little League to move on to the semifinal. They allowed fewer runs than both Mechanicville, Stillwater, and Vestal, and by virtue of that runs allowed tally, Twintown Little League moves on to tomorrow's semifinal round. The winner of this game will face Twintown. The loser will face West Nyack. And we will find out which teams will match up with the other 2 semifinalists following the conclusion of this game. We will also see who emerges victorious in this pool by moving to 3-0. It should be a very exciting night of baseball here at Great Kills. South Shore always generates a good turnout here on Staten Island. They have in all 3 years that we've covered the 12U championship. No disappointment when it comes to the turnout here in this 10U New York State Little League Baseball Tournament game. And we will throw it down to public address as this time. The introductions of starting lineups are about to conclude, and the national anthem will soon be played when Nick and I come back on headset. First pitch in this final game of pool play here on the major field. South Shore takes on Massapequa Coast. Coming up next.
And in that room, number 42, Louis Vaccarelli, number 42. The coaches, Matt Elian, Jeff Megan, and Aiden Austin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise? And please show your pride in our country by removing your caps and singing along to our national anthem. umpires for tonight's game. At first base, Joe D'Angelo. Behind home plate, Nick Kelly. Tournament Director, Frank Cambria.
Joe Foreman and Nicholas Bavona back with you here at Great Kills Little League as we get set for a matchup of 2-0 teams to conclude pool play here on the major field at this 2026 10U New York State Little League Baseball Championship. Nick, I already ran through how our pool play has played out in terms of who is reaching the semifinal. Both of these teams among the semifinalists, joined by West Nyack and Twintown. Both of these teams 2-0. What is on the line is winning your pool and taking on the lower seed from the other pool. That would be Twintown. How important is it to win this game knowing that no matter what, you have a spot in tomorrow's semifinal? Are you going all out to win this game? Or perhaps do you think we'll see some of the arms that may not need to be conserved for a semifinal and a championship?
I think there will be some arms that won't be used in this game, Joe, because you definitely want to save them for the semifinal and the championship potentially. But these teams are still going to go all out because it's all about bragging rights at the end of the day. You want to get that 3-0 record. You want to be the only team to have a 3-0 record on this side of the bracket. And keep in mind, Joe, this very well could be a championship game preview if these teams are to get to the championship game. We saw that our first year covering the 12U tournament. So it's very possible these two teams could be meeting once again on Friday for the championship. But to get there, they have to first get through this game here tonight and then get to their respective matchups tomorrow. As you mentioned, winner of this game gets Twintown. The loser will get West Nyack.
And something else to note in terms of arms that may be conserved, another approach to this game, Nick, possibly, is that we see a lot of different arms, perhaps every pitcher that is available to pitch today, because you could theoretically throw all of your pitchers 19 and under and then use them again. So there is that possibility as well. We will see how these two teams manage the pitching, but it is left-hander DJ Galati who deals the first pitch for a strike to Cameron McCormick. And that opens up what officially on our schedule is game number 11 of 12 in pool play for us here on the major field. And for you and I, Nick, it is our final game of pool play on this field. Dave and John have the call over at the senior minor field. Game of pool play going on over there as well at the same time. You can catch that game by heading over to the PDF Sports Network YouTube channel and our playlist. SJS and Penfield, St. James Smithtown, of course, and Penfield going head-to-head over on the senior minor field right now. That is available through a separate live stream.
Two teams that, of course, we will be covering this upcoming weekend in the 12U New York State Little League Baseball Tournament Championship.
We've seen a lot of Penfield. Have they been in all 4 years that we've covered it, or 3 out of 4? As that one's line foul down the left field line, it stays 1-2 on McCormick.
I would say I can remember 3 out of 4. I don't know if it's all of them.
I think you're right.
This, of course,
SJS will
upcoming.
appear for the second straight year.
Yes. They're looking to repeat their championship victory from last season.
And that's hit well right center field and handled nicely out there by Christian Buckman. He made that one look easy, staring straight up into the sunlight. One away in the top half of the first.
Yeah, some went away for a little bit, but then it started creeping back in as the conclusion of that last game between Vestal and Mechanicville Stillwater was concluding. So definitely still have to contend with it here in this game.
I would anticipate that the sun sets somewhere around the midway point of this game, perhaps. It's 7:04 right now on Staten Island. John Hagan behind 0-1 quickly.
Joe, you can remember his performance yesterday from the home run derby. Some massive swings in that contest.
Time called by Hagan. The South Shore supporters beyond the outfield wall appreciated that late call for time.
Of course, that derby won by Massapequa Coast's Bennett Catherwood. So you see a matchup of those two players once again.
We'll see him bat in the bottom half of the inning. He will be facing Christopher Ortiz, who gets the start in this one for South Shore. That one fouled away, 1-2. And something that stood out in the first couple of games that we covered for Massapequa Coast, of course, we had both of their games. We've now had all 3 of their games with this one. Great defensively and the pitching allowing just the 1 run. Of course, that's impressive as well, but they had a lot of chances in the field to make plays and seemingly made all of it.
Been very efficient, as you have mentioned.
And you don't see that often. A pitch that bounces on the green turf short of the brown area in front of home plate. It skips and hits the batter. Hagen on with the hit by pitch.
Yeah, I can't recall the last time I've seen that happen.
Number 17.
I don't think we've seen it this year, that's for sure, and it's not often you see it at all. Vincent Lecce, the batter now. Lines one into right field, base hit, played on a hop by Thomas, comes up throwing, and it's not in time. Now, if Lecce doesn't run hard, he's out, and that is a strong throw from Thomas in right to make it close.
Well, we saw Thomas in the skills competition for the Golden Arm yesterday making some good throws, and he made a good, strong one right there, but just could not get him out of first base. South Shore with their first base hit of the game.
After a loud first out, 1 away, 2 on. That's blooped on the infield. It falls! And no play at first. Everybody is safe. Did Piper think they were going to call an infield fly? He let it fall. Either that or he lost it in the sun.
I think he lost it in the sun, Joe.
It's entirely possible. Though the way he would be looking, he's not looking into the sun like an outfielder is.
Number 19.
I'm almost inclined to say that he thought it was an infield fly, but you might be right, Nick. Maybe he did lose it in the sun. Brylan Goldberg, the batter now, takes a strike. 0-1 the count. Left-on-left matchup here. Bases loaded, 1 out for South Shore. And that's hit in the air once again and caught. And theoretically, Nick, they could have called an infield fly on that one, too.
Right field. Number 15.
Did see an infield fly in that Vestal Mechanicville Stillwater game, but you're right, did not call it there. 2 gone.
That's a big second out. And that one's hit deep to right, off the bat of Ryan Cresci. It rolls all the way to the wall. 2 runs are in, and they are waving home a third. The throw to the plate on one hop. In time, and Nick, I thought he was certainly safe. The tag came after the foot touched the plate. The throw was there with plenty of time, and I think that call might have been made in anticipation of a tag. Romero out at the plate, 2 runs in to score on the 2 RBI double by Cresci, and we'll get one more look at it as we head into break. I think he's safe, Nick.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. He definitely, the throw was there.
It was there, and the tag was waiting, but I don't think he tagged him before he touched the plate.
Yeah, I thought maybe he got under it.
Either way, that is a call that is very difficult to get. And we will stay right here in between innings as Cresci puts South Shore in front 2-0 with what goes down as a 2 RBI double. Trying to score it quickly.
But if you're South Shore, you'll take it nonetheless. You get 2 runs in that inning and a big knock to the right field gap over Thomas, who's had a good start to this pool play with his defense, but just no avail right there. That one hit well over his head.
Well, Nick, I actually, in the process of scoring this play, trying to figure out how do you, I guess you have to score it a single on the infield, right? The Romero play, you have to. I think on the way down, Piper may have touched it.
I had 3 hits for South Shore.
You gave it a single?
Yeah.
All right, then he was out at the plate. What was the relay? Good luck. We'll just put an X at home plate.
The relay, if I'm not mistaken, was right field. I want to say shortstop. I might have it if I get luck. Let's see.
If you don't, no big deal. As we have a few moments before the start of the home first inning, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors at ShopRite. Get more, save more, and enjoy more at ShopRite. Stock up on fresh foods, household essentials, and unbeatable weekly specials. Shop smart, shop local, and shop happy. ShopRite has you covered for every meal and every moment. ShopRite is a proud sponsor all week long here at the 10U New York State Little League Baseball Championship. And Nick,
9-6-2 on that relay.
very good.
Right field.
Now, if you do get a moment, I want one more look at that play at the plate.
Okay.
May have to wait. Maybe we have a second here. Yeah, run it back one more time.
I think you're right.
I think he's safe. But you're not going to get that call when the throw beats the runner by that wide of a margin. Almost impossible to get that call. And I would venture to say, Nick, that this break between innings has been about as long of a break as we had between any.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the exact reasoning is. Something wrong, maybe. Not entirely sure, honestly. I didn't want to make an assumption, but wasn't sure.
Yeah, there's a chopper toward first. And stepping on the bag for a quick first out was the first baseman, Modeste.
Number 1.
Well, he does get the pitcher's best friend right there with the 1 pitch, 1 out to begin this bottom half of the first inning.
Frank Thomas retired to get things started. At the plate now, Christian Buckman. That pitch in for a called strike, 0-1. Count now even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Giving our crew over at the senior minor field a scoring update. They cannot see the scoreboard, and the Wi-Fi for video streaming, a bit shaky. Both of their streaming laptops wired in, but they need those for their broadcast, so I am their source of updates.
Any updates towards our left?
Looks like no score. I can see the very top of the board. It looks like 2 zeros to me, Nick, as the count evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Buckman. And you know what, Nick? I'm looking over towards second base as that pitch misses for ball 3. If you look towards second base, out there for South Shore is Aiden Syed. He is shielding his eyes from the sun on every play, so I think you were right, Nick. The sun is what got Piper, and wouldn't you know it? Syed with a tough chance deep in the hole makes the play. Fortunately, the sun not a factor on that one. A nice play by the South Shore second baseman. And there's 2 gone in the inning.
Yeah, the only safe spot realistically is at first base for these 2 teams in terms of the players in the infield. There's not much leeway for anyone in the outfield and definitely not in the infield as well.
Yeah, I didn't think that the sun would be as big of a factor for an infielder given the direction that they're likely to be looking at the baseball, but you can tell that it's very clear Syed is contending with the sun. So you were right, Nick. I think that pop-up in the previous half inning was a sun-assisted single. And again, I don't think that one is as easy to call on the fly as the second one may have been, but you could have called an infield fly on it. I mean, if he fields it cleanly and they get 2 outs, would you think the bench protests on the other side? I think they would.
Yeah, I could see it.
If he picks it up and gets 2 outs on the play, I could definitely see a protest. That pitch in for a strike. Count even at 2. Bennett Catherwood at the plate. We mentioned him during the previous half inning and his display of power in the home run derby. Stays alive with that foul ball, 2-2. Another 2-2 skips in. Full count once again. And that ball is smoked to right center field. Nice stop in the gap to hold Catherwood to a single by Lecce in center field. It's The two-out base runner for Massapequa Coast, and he is ready to head to the bench and get his equipment on, Nick. The courtesy runner out of the dugout immediately. This is our first time covering South Shore during this tournament here on the major field, Nick, but you don't need to cover this team to see how well they've hit the ball. And Massapequa Coast, a team that we've covered twice, has also hit the ball pretty hard in their 2 games coming in to this third and final pool play matchup. First pitch from Ortiz, in for a strike to Kyle Sventeritis. 0-1.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this matchup. You don't realistically know what you're going to get. Are you going to get the pitcher's duel? Will we see these two offenses just slug it out? Not entirely sure, but with South Shore already getting 2 runs in the top half of the inning, Massapequa Coast would certainly love to have some runs right here and get a 2-out rally before this inning ends.
Yeah, what strikes my curiosity is how the pitching is going to be managed in this game. Do you try and get as much as you can out of one pitcher, or do you divide the workload among several pitchers to preserve as many arms as you can? That pitch low and away now. And we've seen a couple of 2-strike counts get away from Ortiz. These hitters from Massapequa Coast not giving away too many easy strikes.
Again, time being called behind the plate. Umpire and umpire having a discussion with the South Shore catcher.
How about that fastball? Blew him away with the high heat. And Ortiz gets back in the dugout after a 15-pitch first inning. 1 base hit for Massapequa Coast. They strand a runner, and we head to the second. 2-0, South Shore in the lead.
Awards and Trophy Center is proud to sponsor this week's New York State Little League Championship. Located at 1600 Highland Boulevard on Staten Island, we pride ourselves in not only building trophies, but building relationships as we service our community and treat you like family. Your event and its achievements deserve the best. That's why Country Awards and Trophy Center is ready to work with all of our clients to make your event a memorable one, with awards, trophies, and gifts that make a lasting impression. Come see why we love our customers and they love us. Visit us today.
Second inning about to get started here at Great Kills Little League as the sun continues to set over Staten Island. And Nick, I'm sure these infielders and the outfielders are eager for that sun to become a non-factor. You could make the case that right now a sun-assisted base hit is the difference in this game. South Shore on top of Massapequa Coast, 2-0.
Yeah, certainly, Joe. I mean, that could have been the difference of making the out right there over at second. Instead, it allows South Shore to get that second run. So even if they didn't get 2 runs, it definitely assisted for one of those runs coming in for South Shore in that top half of the first inning. But they take a 2-0 lead early on, coming into the second inning, looking to get some more runs. And keep in mind, Joe, South Shore has only played just 8 innings of pool play so far in their first 2 games. So they haven't had much longevity to these games so far in their first 2 days of play.
That's a good point, Nick. Haven't had to use much pitching, and there has been a ton of offense generated by these South Shore bats. Due up for the visiting South Shore squad here in the second inning, 7, 8, and 9, Modeste, Syed, and Ortiz. Lefty Gilati comes set and delivers. Outside, ball 1. 1-0. And a show of bunt is pulled away. 2-0. Long look in here from Gillotti ahead of the 2-0. That's hit well to left and caught staring up into the sunlight. Vaccarelli able to make that play.
Number 12, Aiden Syed.
Loud first out for South Shore, Nick.
Second base.
They've hit the ball hard early in this game.
Yeah, and that's to be expected, Joe, from what they've done the first 2 days. And you and I haven't even gotten a chance to cover them, but we saw yesterday in the home run derby that a couple of their bats, we know that they can hit the ball. They can pretty much hit the tee off the ball. But, I think at this rate, if you're any team that right now has a chance to maybe stop them, maybe it's this Massapequa team in terms of what their pitching has done in the first couple of days.
That one hit softly over to third.
Look out.
And a collision over at first. Syed.
Yeah, he's holding.
Yeah, I thought he got tripped up by the arm of the first baseman, Austin, but it looks like he may have rolled his ankle over the base. He's back to his feet quickly and appears okay. Out on the play.
Yeah, walking gingerly towards his dugout, but it's a good sight that he got back up.
And just as quickly as I mentioned, the hard hit balls by South Shore, it's a soft bouncer over to third that results in a bit of a collision over at first. Tough to tell if he tripped over the bag or if he hit Austin's arm and lost his footing. Maybe a combination of both. That one bounces well short of the plate into the backstop, ball one. Christopher Ortiz at the plate here. Opposing arm on the other side for South Shore bats with 2 outs and the base is empty. That pitch low, 2-0. And that is smoked through the left side for a base hit. 2-out base runner for South Shore. Ortiz on with a single. Third hit of the game for the visitors.
Number 28,
You have 3?
Sebastian Camacho.
Yes, I do. Oh, 4.
Yeah.
4. Without the sun assisted, it was 3.
Number 28.
Good sight to see as well. Joe Syed back at first base. He's going to pinch run, of course, for Ortiz, the starting pitcher.
First pitch to Sebastian Camacho up high, ball one. And the 1-0 runs inside, 2 balls and no strikes. There's a called strike 2-1. Syed, who was grabbing his ankle after being tripped up when he reached first base, still dancing a bit off the bag. And Nick, I am vindicated, perhaps 3 days a bit later than I would have liked, but I was calling it a secondary lead, and then I posed the question to you, can it be a secondary lead if you can't lead pre-pitch? Well, the spectators are calling it a secondary lead.
Okay.
Vindication. And a weak ground ball up the first base line. Easy play for Austin, who steps on the bag. 3 unassisted to retire Camacho, and South Shore strands 1 in the road second inning. We head to the bottom half of inning number 2. South Shore still leads 2-0.
New York State Little League Championship is proud to have Dave & Buster's as a proud sponsor. Where are you going after the game? There's only one place with delicious food, ice-cold drinks, games on the big screen, and fun for the whole family. Food and drink specials are available all week with the latest video games and the biggest arcade on the island. Redeem tokens for great prizes and come back often because Dave & Buster's is the place to be for game day and all the days in between. Turn on the fun with Dave & Buster's on Staten Island.
Aiden Schmierwitz, the batter. He leads off in the bottom half of the second inning and takes a strike from Christopher Ortiz, 0-1.
Joe, you mentioned to me during this last break, you also had an update from the other field as there's a leadoff single.
Another hard hit ball, this one off the bat of Schmierwitz, right back up the middle. He sent that back to where it came. Leadoff base runner for Massapequa Coast, tying run to the plate. And Matthew Ianfola steps in.
Number 17.
First pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 on Ianfola. The 0-1. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ortiz, a quick worker, and he throws hard. As that one is swung on and missed. 1-2 the count now, and just seems like when he needs it, he can rear back and put a bit extra on that fastball. That one fouled away again, 1-2.
It's got to be tough for a hitter because you really don't have much time to react to the pitch because he gets into the windup immediately, and then you're looking at, okay, how long do I have to wait on this fastball?
That pitch upstairs. Count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's fouled away again, 2-2, and when you see a pitch coming in with that kind of velocity and you can waste it, that's a victory as a hitter, especially in a game where pitch count is of such paramount importance. Another 2-2. To the backstop. Schmierwitz off to second, and he's in standing without a throw.
Chance now for Massapequa Coast to get one of those runs back.
And that is in for strike 3 called. Ianfola down looking for out number 1. And Nick, I was about to say, that's one of those situations where it's important to put the ball in play, preferably to the right side, and get that runner to third.
Number 27.
Joe, if you notice, both teams currently warming up pitchers and their respective bullpens, so you tend to think that this might be the last inning for both side starters.
Is the limit 35? Our cheat sheet's inside. The one-day rest limit. I know so. 19 and under was no rest. I would suspect that each team would only use a pitcher to the point where they require 1 day, which would be tomorrow's semifinal. And then you have them again for a potential championship game. Count now 2-1 on Matthew Therian.
Yeah, that was Catherwood that was warming up for Massapequa Coast, so it looks like he'll go from behind the plate to the mound maybe in the next inning.
Just seems like Ortiz has changed gears with a man on base. He has a 2-2 count here. And that is low for ball 3. Well, this next pitch completely swings this inning. You put another man on, and all of a sudden, tying runs on base. And that missed badly. A good stop behind the plate as well by Goldberg.
And that was pitch number 35, Joe, so I think that's going to lead to a pitching change for South Shore.
Yep, my memory serves me correctly. 35 pitches reached, and that is all for Ortiz as we expected. So with the pitching change, we'll step aside and take a break. Massapequa Coast threatening. Bottom second, 2 on, 1 out. And coming to the plate is DJ Galati.
The Staten Island Ferry Hawks are proud to be a sponsor of this year's New York State Little League Championship, because one championship organization deserves another. Come check out another amazing season with us at Staten Island University Hospital Community Ballpark with great ticket and group deals, theme nights, and fireworks displays. Good luck to all of our teams this week from your friends at the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. We'll see you at the game.
Sebastian Camacho will be the new pitcher for South Shore. 1 out and 2 on. Here in the bottom half of the second inning, he inherits a jam. Massapequa Coast very much threatening. To the plate, DJ Galati. Right now, he's on the short end of this game very early on. We would suspect that he also will not surpass 35 pitches. But he has a chance to help his own cause for the moment and his team's cause as they look to move to 3-0 in pool play.
Sebastian Camacho, the new pitcher for South Shore, and comes into a tough spot with first and second just 1 out in the inning.
Left-handed Galati sees the first pitch from Camacho and fouls it back 0-1. The 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. And Nick, we talked about how runners score from second much more rarely in these 10U games. It is important to move the runners up, even if you make an out here. Also, that tying run in scoring position, a major factor, but just focusing on the lead runner and getting something home. Having him on third as opposed to second really matters. Scoring position doesn't quite mean the same thing in these games. That one taken low. 3-1 now.
Oh, had the wrong count for a second.
You know, I thought
it was 2-2.
I thought it was 2-2 as well. I might have said 2-2. So let's hope that scoreboard is correct, as it will matter very much so, but not for long. A pop-up on the infield, sliding stop, and the catch behind second base by McCormick. And he flips to second for the double play. Well, Nick, I thought that one was going to clear the infield. It did not. The count irrelevant, and the inning over. We head to the third. South Shore maintains a 2-run lead over Massapequa Coast.
This tournament would not be possible without the great support of the Staten Island Advance. Not only does the Staten Island Advance have full coverage of the tournament, but we are committed to covering island youth sports year-round and all news close to home. Pick up the paper today and look for great subscriber deals now for our loyal readership. Visit us online at silive.com for news and photos of this week's tournament and all the breaking news on Staten Island, the nation, and the world. The news of Staten Island is the Staten Island Advance and silive.com.
And we're back for the start of the third inning from Great Kills Little League. And as we get ready for the start of inning number 3, we'd like to thank our friends at Nationwide Bus Charter. Planning a group trip? Nationwide Bus Charter gets you there safely, comfortably, and on time. From school outings to corporate travel, their modern fleet and experienced drivers make every mile easy. Book your next trip with Nationwide Bus Charter. Reliable transportation wherever you're headed. Visit them at nationwidebus.charter.com. And thank you to Nationwide for being a proud sponsor all week long here at the 10U New York State Little League Baseball Championship. Third inning about to get started, and Nick, that bottom half of the second came to a close in a flash.
It certainly did, and unfortunately for Massapequa Coast, a double play ball towards second base on a little bit of a blooper cost them a chance to get some runs in that half inning. So they trail by 2 still going into the top half of the third. And we mentioned it's not a must-win for either of these teams. They're already into the semifinal, but you still want those bragging rights before you move on to the semifinal.
Off the bat, I thought that ball probably was getting down behind the infield, as that one swung on and missed. Count even 1 ball and 1 strike. Joseph Timpanelli, the batter. That one's popped up just behind third, and nice job to range back and make the catch. Now we're going to have some realignment. I believe we had a pitching change, or not yet, Nick? We did. So the pitching change on the side of Massapequa Coast sees Bennett Catherwood, who was warming up, as you mentioned before, coming into the game, trying to make sure the rest of their alignment hasn't changed.
It
or
has.
At least,
Oh, no, it has.
Yeah, it sure has. So
it has.
To begin the game, Matthew Ian Fola was at third. He is no longer at third base. Tough to make out the number. It might be Sventoritis, number 2 over there now. It looks like a single digit from here, Nick. Two and 0 now, the count on the number 12 hitter, Luke Winter.
I can tell you, Liam Austin now is at first base. We know that for sure.
He was there already.
Was he there already?
He was.
I thought for some reason
Schmierwitz
was there.
He was. So Sventoritis is in right field. He's right in front of us. So the only other single-digit number
is Buckman.
So that's a double-digit number over there, and I can't make it out from up here. Soft liner lands behind short, and they will not have a play at first.
It's Buckman at third.
Okay. I don't know why when we mentioned that it had to be Buckman that I thought he was pitching when we just announced the new pitcher. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Infield single for Luke Winter. I have to admit, Nick, I don't know if I'm just losing brain power or, it's been a slow week, but in the past, I've been able to keep scorecards as that's bunted toward first.
It's a great one.
And the throw gets away up the line in right field. It was a late cover over at first base. The throw from Sventoritis comes home, and they will hold the lead runner, Winter. It is a bunt single for McCormick by my estimation, Nick.
Yeah.
He moves up on the throwing error.
Yeah, no question about it, Joe. He would have been safe even if they got there. It's a perfect bunt in that spot where the pitcher can't make the play. The first baseman has to go up down the first base line towards the mound to get it, and the second baseman has to cover. That's just a well-executed bunt right there. And now they have second and third, still just the one out, and a dangerous hitter at the plate.
That dangerous bat belongs to John Hagan. He takes out of the zone, ball one, just one out in the inning. Something else to note. Catherwood's pitch on the way. Upstairs, 2-0. Are you in a spot, Nick, where you're thinking about force all around in a game that you trail by 2 against South Shore?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they put Hagan on first base, try to get the force at any base at this rate.
Yeah, I don't think you can take a chance here. I think you have to trust your pitcher to throw strikes to the next guy behind 2-0, and they went right after him. Hagan made them pay. 1 run in to score, and a strong throw from center field. They couldn't even think about a second run. Thomas showing off that right arm once again, but it's an RBI single for John Hagan, and South Shore leads at 3-0.
I was going to make the point of maybe just try to pitch around him, maybe force him to chase, and he just went up the ladder on that one and just crushed it into center field. RBI single for Hagan, and now a 3-0 lead for South Shore, and I have 7 hits for them now in this game.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Nick, I probably don't pitch to him there. And Hagan delivers a scorching RBI single to put men on the corners. Hagan now getting that secondary lead. Take that, Nick.
I didn't rub any salt in the wound for any other stuff.
You didn't. There's a lot more salt on our pretzels.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Extra salty tonight, the concession stand. The 0-1. Fouled back, 0-2. This is a big out to get to keep this a 3-run game without another run coming home on an out. Right now an out could produce a run. The infield is back, so it won't take much. Vincent Lecce at the plate, sends one to deep right field, and that will roll to the wall. 1 run in to score. They are waving Hagan home. The throw is cut off, and on to third goes Lecce. It's a 2 RBI triple for the South Shore center fielder. They now lead it 5-0.
That might be the first time, Joe, maybe the second time we've seen the ball go all the way towards the wall here on the main field. That one was just crushed into right field. 2-run triple. And South Shore now starting to open this game up. They lead it now 5-0 here in the third.
South Shore showing why they've played just 8 innings of baseball so far in this tournament and how they put together a pair of offensive outings totaling 31 runs in 2 games. And that's 31 runs in 8 innings at the plate.
Yeah.
That is incredible. And their hot hitting continues. At the plate now, Joseph Romero. He's ahead 1-0.
If you actually South Shore faithful, I'm sure they would love another 4-inning potential game here.
Well, they're halfway there and cannot allow another run if they score just 5 more. That one fouled over the Massapequa Coast dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Romero. Wind picking up a bit.
It's a nice little breeze right there.
I mentioned how the weather cooperated with us much of the week. Really, yesterday was the only day where the weather was a factor to the negative.
And even then, we were able to at least get through the entirety of the thing with no.
We beat the rainfall just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Was it barely? Because
it was barely.
Oh.
It was barely.
I got back home at 12:30 and it was still good.
I thought it started to rain as soon as we finished.
No.
Here. No?
No. It was sunny when I was over here. I said, wow.
Maybe it was when I drove into New Jersey.
I think it was.
By the time I got back, it was raining.
As there's a walk.
And it was raining pretty hard.
There's a funny video that the Yankees posted yesterday. Schlittler was having a warm-up toss. The game had already, I think, been postponed at that point, and he was doing his warm-up toss to just have a catch and, get his arm loose. And as he's throwing the baseball, you just see torrential downpour. It's a very funny visual. And I said, you know what? That's probably a good thing. You and I canceled our plans to go to the stadium last night.
I held out as long as I could. It became clear the weather was not going to cooperate. I believe the second game of today's Yankees doubleheader just started as Brylan Goldberg takes a strike.
This is a good distraction from me having to watch the Yankees at this current point.
Would you like a scoring
update?
update?
I'm good. There's a reason I wore Nick's stuff today.
Fair enough. That one fouled back, 0-2 on Goldberg.
Did start my packing for our trip coming up. I do have a couple of Knicks jerseys I'm going to be wearing for the tournament next week.
Very good. They need to know where we're from. That's taken low. And halfway to second now is Romero, and they'll let him go.
No, they were trying to induce a throw to maybe get the throw, the run down at third base, but they were never going to throw to second.
Yeah, Massapequa not really tempted on that one. They let him go. 2 in scoring position, 1 out, and a 1-2 count on Goldberg. Count even at 2 now. I think we're still scoreless across the way, Nick. Though, actually, it was Penfield 4.
Penfield 4-0.
Yeah, I'm looking at the top of that scoreboard. That number's crooked now if it was 4-0 earlier. There's a line drive into center field, base hit. They will hold Romero. In to score is Lecce. And it's now 6-0 South Shore.
The South Shore Badgers continue to rake so far in these first 3 games of pool play. 9 hits here in the third inning, 6 runs, still just the 1 out, first and third, and Massapequa Coast might be making another pitching change.
They now trail by 6. South Shore showing no signs of slowing down at the plate, but at the moment it appears to be nothing more than a conversation at the mound. Pitch count for Catherwood at 24.
And remember, he came in this inning. South Shore has made him work.
Thus far, it hasn't really mattered who's been out there. The ball's been hit pretty hard. And you could see Catherwood backing up his outfielders. Cressy at the plate. Doubled home a run his last time up. The left-hander 1 for 1 in this game. First pitch to Cressy in for a strike. They throw back to the mound, and again, they're forced to concede that base. Yo, 1. In there, 0-2. Cather with a strike away from the second out here in the third inning. That pitch upstairs, 1-2. Nick, see if you can get a look at that scoreboard next door.
It is 9-1 Penfield in the third.
Yeah, I could tell that was no longer a 4, and with the top of the 9 in my head, it registered 0 as that's hit. Shallow left, down for a hit. Another run in, holding at second was the tail runner on the plate, Goldberg. And it's another RBI base hit for Ryan Cresci. South Shore in front, 7-0.
Well, he went into right field his first time up, or I should say into center field, and this one going the opposite way, just getting it over Therian over at short, in for an RBI single, a 7-0 lead now for South Shore, and their 10th hit of this game.
And Massapequa, semi-fortunate that Goldberg didn't move up to third. He'd be looking at 2 in scoring position again. They get the Shore out at second on the infield grounder right there. Modeste reaches first. They force out Cresci at second. 2 away in the inning now, and runners on the corners.
Yeah, at least smart by Piper not to throw the ball to first base, because they would not have had to play there. Because if you do throw to first, South Shore maybe could think about maybe sending that runner from third base to home.
That will bring up Aiden Syed. Syed grounded out to third in his first at-bat. Got a bit tripped up over first base. Was hobbled for a moment, but came out shortly after as a courtesy runner and showed no ill effects.
South Shore also made the pitch runner over at third to get him out of the game, of course.
And there goes the runner from first again, and they won't try it at second. Now, with 2 outs, they definitely could have thrown through there if they felt confident enough, but then if you get in that rundown, you have to get the ball back in quickly. It's not often we see that play executed, the multiple throws to get it back home. That one up and away, it's 2-0.
Even when I was playing Little League, we would try to do that, and even then, it was just such a tough play to have even try to throw the ball to either the pitcher or the shortstop to at least say, hey, listen, we're watching you, but we're not going to test to try and make the play over at second because we're watching the runner over at third.
Syed now ahead 3-0. First base open. That would set up the force all around. And we saw before, behind 2-0 on Hagan, they gave him a pitch to hit. He made them pay. And credit to South Shore for a team that's hit the ball so well. They've been very patient. Bit of gamesmanship there. 3-0. Upstairs, ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
This game could potentially spiral out of control right here with one swing.
Well, a gapper, which admittedly, Nick, has been rare, could potentially clear the bases. Tough to do, but not impossible.
Well, we've seen 2 already in this game by South Shore, so very possible it could happen again.
Now, would any of those have scored 3? One almost did.
One almost did, yeah.
It almost did.
It's a good relay.
We thought it should have based on the replay. 1-0. Upstairs, ball 2. I said it before, Nick, when you encounter a hitter, and again, these are all all-stars, every hitter is dangerous, but when you encounter an especially dangerous hitter and the base is open, as that one's hit a mile high, this is not a gimme. Piper back, and he's got it. And to complete the point, Nick, when you have an especially dangerous hitter at the plate, you have to trust your pitcher to throw a strike to the next guy. Behind 2-0, Catherwood able to get the pop up there and retire Ortiz. South Shore strands the bases loaded, but they score 5 times in the third. We head to the bottom half of inning number 3. South Shore leads Massapequa Coast 7-0.
To sports, why be good when you can be legendary? At Legend Sporting Goods in Brooklyn, we service the community with only the best custom apparel, embroidery, and service, specializing in youth sports, so that the leaders of today become the legends of tomorrow. We're proud to support all of this week's great athletes and invite everyone to check us out and make us a part of your team. Come see why Legends Sporting Goods is in a class by itself. Visit us online or call us now.
And we are back from Great Kills Little League, where South Shore now leads Massapequa Coast 7-0. And Nick, mid-sentence, I was interrupted by some cheers on the field to our left. Perhaps we get one more update as we head into the bottom half of the third inning. But Nick, the conversation very quickly now is shifting toward, can South Shore possibly end a game in 4 innings or less again? Now, you can't end it unless they've played the minimum number of innings thus far here at the state championship. And if they can hold Massapequa Coast here, they're looking at a 3 spot to potentially end this game in 4. If you're Massapequa Coast, has the focus perhaps shifted now toward just preserving arms and getting through this game without hindering your performance in any way in the semifinal tomorrow? Or are you still completely locked in and looking at this game as one that you're firmly out to win?
I think you're looking a little bit towards tomorrow at this point. And I don't really like to say that. I think every game is still
it sounds bad, but you have to be, reasonable, as that's line into center field, base hit. And if there's a path back, that's a good way to begin. Piper, line drive single, leadoff base runner for Massapequa.
The reason I say that is because now you have tomorrow where you're looking at how many arms we have tomorrow. We see right now Massapequa is warming up another pitcher down here the first base line.
That's Venteritis.
So they're going to make another pitching change coming up. And you got to think about who we're going to have tomorrow. And if we get past tomorrow, could we have on Thursday as well for the championship game? So it's all a strategy game right now at this point, especially at this point in this game, being in the bottom of the third. You're down 7 runs. If you can make this interesting, then maybe the narrative changes. But as of right now, I think that narrative has maybe, as much as I hate to say it, you're looking maybe ahead to tomorrow, trying to save as much possible arms as you possibly have.
Mason Meyer, the batter here, with Piper, the runner, over at first. Now, a point that I didn't make earlier that I'd like to make now is, I think for me, if I'm managing the pitching coming into a game like this, I think you're looking at the arms that you certainly want to pitch tomorrow, and even if you can keep them 19 or below, I am not using them today. And the reason why is, if you face South Shore again down the line, I want them to have seen as few of my pitchers as possible, especially the pitchers that I really like. Now, the problem is, if you use a pitcher extensively tomorrow as Piper heads to second, you can't use them against South Shore in the championship. So you're in kind of a bind. You know you're not going to play South Shore again tomorrow. You might play them again in 2 days, and the pitchers who go 35 or less today, you're probably using them again in a potential championship. South Shore then sees them already. So it's a really tough spot to be in when you have to play a team to conclude pool play, and then you have to play them again 2 days later. The odds dictate you're probably going to have to show them some pitchers twice.
Yeah, and I think that's the tough part of it. You're going to see them eventually if you get to the championship game, if that's the case. Of course, if both teams get there at that rate, but yeah, you're in a tough spot. I don't really envy the the managers of all these teams having to deal with these scenarios, especially now with the last 4 teams trying to figure out exactly how do we figure out, how many players we're using in terms of pitching, how many players are we using just to get through this game here tonight.
I think when you look at a pitcher who is cut off at 35 pitches tonight, that's an arm you are extremely likely to see again. Extremely likely. Liam Austin at the plate here with a runner in scoring position and 1 out. That one's popped up in play, and as much as you'd like to make that play, have to be careful around that fence.
Yeah.
Unforgiving.
Always nice to make a web gem here and there, but you also want to make sure you're 100% playing these next couple games.
The 1-2 pitch on the way. And skips in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2. Hit the straightaway center. Falling fast, it's caught. A diving catch in straightaway center field by Vincent Lecce.
Man, Joe, the defense we've seen these last couple of days has been incredible. And another web jet play right there out in center field.
Louis Vaccarelli to the plate now. That one's fouled off, 0-1. That last pitch, number 17 for Sebastian Camacho, and we would suspect that Catherwood is probably done at 36 pitches for Massapequa Coast. We mentioned Sventoritis was warming up as that one gets away and allows Piper to move up to third. The 1-1. Swung on and missed, 1-2. The 1-2. Low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Piper the runner over at third. Singled and advanced on a pair of wild pitches. And that's it out to right. And it's over the head of the right fielder, Cresci. It lands just shy of the warning track and brings home Piper. It's an RBI double for Louis Vaccarelli. And Massapequa Coast is on the board at 7-1.
Well, Massapequa Coast really needed that one, Joe. Just goes over the outstretched glove out in right field. And a big-time RBI double right there by Vaccarelli. 6-run deficit now by Massapequa. Can they get themselves a 2-out rally? Maybe make things interesting. Still have a lot of time to play with here in this game.
First pitch to Frank Thomas, up high, ball 1. Thomas retired 3 unassisted back in the first inning.
Been a very tough out to get in these first couple of days of pool play.
Well, the sun is no longer a factor, Nick. Wind has entered the chat, and it definitely helped that ball out to right field. And I'm still perfect for the week, left field and right field, by the way.
Don't jinx yourself now.
I only have to get through 3 more innings, and then we're back behind the plate where I'm used to calling games again. I don't think I've confused left and right once this year.
You were very close earlier this week.
I've, at some point or another, butchered everything else, but I haven't confused left and right.
Way to throw yourself under the bus.
You need to be self-reflective and honest. Self-aware. I hate people who lack self-awareness. You shouldn't hate anyone, kids. But if there's one thing I hate, one thing that really grinds my gears, it's a lack of self-awareness.
Good PSA right there.
You know what really grinds my gears, Nick?
Faulty technology.
Number 0. It's 0. Though that's a very good guess.
Yeah, it's that one could have been anything.
Thou shall not announce a batter as number 0. That one popped up into the South Shore bullpen. 2-2 the count on Thomas.
Sure, the people down the third base line parking were certainly grateful that went into the dugout.
A collective sigh of relief from, I don't want to call them lazy, but I feel like you have to if you're parking there.
I know.
That is such a risk.
I will say, I did park down the left field line, but closer to the foul pole as Thomas strikes out to end the inning.
Yeah, you're way down there. I see you. You're way down.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I'll be good.
Thomas strikes out, and Massapequa Coast settles for 1. We're through 3 at Great Kills. 7-1, South Shore on top.
S Industrial is your all-in-one supply and tool store for commercial, industrial, and domestic industries. A leader in HVAC supply stores, K&S provides various building and maintenance supplies for office buildings, industrial plants, schools, homes, and more. We also specialize in getting our customers hard-to-find items. If you're looking for HVAC supply stores that also offer anything else you might need, look no further than K&S Industrial. If they make it, we'll get it. K&S Industrial.
Fourth inning about to get started here at Great Kills Little League. South Shore leads it 7-1. And Nick, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast and again during the last inning that South Shore has not played more than 4 innings in a game. And I don't know if you caught that. Massapequa throwing the ball around almost took out their own spectators along the line. That one just caught the fence. But either way, Massapequa on the board for the first time in this game during the last half inning. South Shore would now need a 4 spot to put themselves in a position to end this game in 4.
We just saw them have a 5 spot back in the third, so they're very capable of doing so.
Certainly possible. Meanwhile, scoring update across the way.
11-1 Penfield in the third inning of that game, so they're in a position where they can maybe end the game in 4 innings.
And, you know, the game they played on day 1 certainly was a winnable game.
Yeah.
Certainly was winnable.
Yeah, scoreless game going into the bottom of the 5th, and they were 1 out away from getting out of that inning.
It's very winnable.
It was a mixture of a bad play over at short and then 3 straight hit batters, and that was the difference.
They had a winnable game on day 1 and then a game that got completely out of hand on day 2. Want to know the count to begin the road 4th inning. Sebastian Camacho, the only South Shore hitter that did not come to the plate in the 3rd, leads off the 4th.
You mentioned Kyle's Ventureitis, the new pitcher from Massapequa Coast, warming up in that previous half inning. Now gets the rubber here in the top of the 4th.
So they've had 2 pitchers that were cut off at that 35-pitch threshold. So both would be available for a potential championship game. If that game is against South Shore, how much does it concern you that they've seen both? I think Galati fared pretty well. I think if it weren't for the sun, he probably gives up no runs. Catherwood got hit a bit harder as Camacho strikes out, but are you concerned at all that the other team has now seen 2 arms ahead of a potential championship game?
I don't know if I am, only because South Shore has been just a tough out to get right now in this entire tournament. They have had, double-digit hits already here through 3 innings of play. And they have gotten a bunch of runs, 31 runs before tonight. So it's really, a situation where maybe I would be scared because of the fact that they've already seen these guys, and that might be the case if they face again in the championship. But at the same time, you're at the point where, Massapequa Coast will have seen maybe some of the South Shore pitchers that we've seen tonight. So maybe they will have a better reading as to what they might be facing on a couple days from now.
Yeah, I should have phrased it a bit differently. It's not so much that they've seen 2 of your pitchers, it's that they've seen them and had success.
Yeah.
I think the success is what concerns you. There's a chopper, right side. Piper's got it, 2 away. As Timpanelli is retired 4-3.
Luke Winter.
Luke Winter to the plate now. Winter ahead 1-0. Singleton scored in his first at-bat. That pitch low and in, 2-0 now.
Now, if Dave and John finish before we do, which right now they're in a good spot in terms of what that score is, do they join us in terms of watching the game from up here like we did for their game?
Oh, they will. They'll at least stop by.
Yeah.
If it's a 6-run ball game and potentially on the brink of getting out of hand at some point, they'll probably head home. But the rest of the way, Nick, it's just you and I. That ball to the backstop, 3-1.
Yeah, if you're not sick of us now.
If you're not sick of us by now, you have 3 more games with us here at Great Kills, and then it's off to West Nyack. Count 3-1. Foul ball, 3-2. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. Our schedule the rest of the way, 10-1 tomorrow?
Yes.
And then are they going 9 or 10 the following day?
I think it was 10. I'll double check.
There's ball 4 to Winter. 2-out base runner for South Shore.
Number 1, Cameron McCormick.
So we have 10-1 tomorrow for the semifinals, and then on Friday, the championship game at 11 a.m.
11.
Yes.
Very nice.
A little bit of some extra sleep on Friday.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the 11 a.m. start, the 10 a.m. start to the 9:30.
I was much enjoying the reaping of the benefits from the extra sleep from today.
Yeah. I got to be honest, Nick. If they ran the 4:30, 7 o'clock split all week, I would love it. I really would. And for me, the reason why is, again,
it's different for you, yeah.
Well, it's because I can come to Staten Island, spend a few hours in the office, and then come to the game from 10 minutes away. When you leave from New Jersey, you have to account for that potential traffic.
Yep.
And in the morning, if you're being quite honest, it's tough to pull yourself out of bed sometimes.
Yeah. Now I'm going to have to do that for the championship game in West Nyack. I'm going to have to give myself a lot more extra time to get the drive out there.
Well, that's a night game, so you're fine.
Yeah, but still, don't want to, take my chances. If I get there early, get there early.
Yeah, it's much easier when it's a night game.
Yeah.
It's an 8 o'clock game. You could leave at 4.
Joe, they've officially ended it towards our left. I hear Frank.
All right. So I would assume the final was 11-1. If that was the score headed to the bottom half.
13-1.
13-1. Damn.
Excuse me?
You know what you do when you assume, Nick. I could have said that, so much worse.
You said earlier this week this was a G-rated broadcast.
You're right. Can you say that in a G-rated movie?
I don't think you can, Joe.
Darn. I think, don't you get one?
No.
The payoff pitch, foul back.
They might give you, subtle hints that they want to say that, but they never do. So Penfield at least will get a win in this tournament, and they do it in very convincing fashion.
I might not be a smoker, but I'm a potty mouth, apparently.
We're doing this again.
Foul ball again, 3-2.
Just don't ask me what the kids do nowadays. Don't do that again.
Oh, well.
We don't need that again. It's been a lengthy at-bat meanwhile. Another foul ball. Another 3-2 count.
And Cameron McCormick, after a lengthy battle with Sventoritis, draws the walk, and now Sventoritis is up to 24 pitches.
Number 23.
Yeah, I think, of course, Massapequa Coast was hoping they could get some innings out of him, and this is what we talked about earlier. Cather would remember when he came in that third inning, he was at a 24-pitch mark, a few batters in. South Shore, you mentioned it too. They have made these pitchers work in every single game so far, and they're making him work here in the fourth.
It's been no easy outs, a patient approach, and when they've gotten into hitters' counts, been ahead 2-0, 3-1, they've been willing to take their walks, but if they've been given pitches to hit in hitters' counts, they haven't missed. That one to the backstop. Both runners move up. Two in scoring position now for John Hagan.
Ripped a big-time hit out into center field his last time. Got an RBI on it.
Count 2-0. And first base is open again. Same situation as earlier. And Hagan takes outside.
And remember, that was, I believe, a 2-0 count they had on him last time as well. That one just missed on the outside corner, ball 3. And we'll see maybe if they try to walk him to load the bases.
It's really a no-win situation. This lineup full of dangerous hitters, but Hagan's reached twice, and the man behind him, Vincent Lecce, has reached twice. So no relief in the on-deck circle. Third walk of the inning.
And you get to the spot now, Joe, where South Shore, with one big swing, could really make this a tough deficit to come back from Massapequa.
Well, Lecce has a 2 RBI triple already. Came around to score in the third.
Well, Sventuritis now at 28 pitches in this inning.
This could very well be his last batter, Nick.
And keep in mind, the inning started pretty well for him, and he's just found into some trouble these last couple of at-bats. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think this is probably going to be his last batter of this game, regardless of what happens in the outcome.
Certainly could be the case. I think if it's a quick at-bat,
yeah, it'd have to be like a 1-2.
They'll let him go to 35. But
yeah.
I think that would be all. The limit might even be 39, Nick, but I would suspect the way they've managed the pitching, it's 35.
I think it's 35.
I think you're right, and that's what I said earlier, but without the cheat sheet, which is inside.
Got to stick to your gut.
Got to trust your instincts. Count 0-1. And there's a shot to center, and waiting there is Thomas. An atom ball straight at the center fielder. And that will do it for South Shore in the fourth. South Shore strands the bases loaded, but they still lead it 7-1, headed to the home fourth inning.
Awards and Trophy Center is proud to sponsor this week's New York State Little League Championship. Located at 1600 Highland Boulevard on Staten Island, we pride ourselves in not only building trophies, but building relationships as we service our community and treat you like family. Your event and its achievements deserve the best. That's why Country Awards and Trophy Center is ready to work with all of our clients to make your event a memorable one, with awards, trophies, and gifts that make a lasting impression. Come see why we love our customers and they love us. Visit us today.
And we're back from Great Kills for the bottom half of the fourth inning. South Shore on top. of Massapequa Coast, 7-1. Sebastian Camacho back to the mound for South Shore in the bottom half of inning number 4.
Something we didn't mention, Joe. South Shore guaranteed to at least play 5 innings tonight.
Yep. We may not be math majors, but we can figure out that one. 4 innings plus a 6-run lead entering the bottom half equals 1 more, perhaps 2 more, or more than that, if history is any indication. The final game of pool play to end for us has historically been a roller coaster ride, so stay tuned.
It would be fitting.
Ground ball to short. Handled cleanly, and very quickly there's 1 out in the home 4th inning. Christian Buckman retired quickly. Bennett Catherwood to the plate now.
Yeah, it seems as if every time the lights come on here at Great Kills and you and I are on the call, something happens.
Whenever it comes down to the final game of pool play, we see something we didn't expect. We had the marathon 13-inning game. We had the lightning delay. That was a Game 12. Game 12 last year, I believe it was, I just watched it.
Was that the Port Washington game?
It was Port Washington.
Against Saugerties?
No, it was Union Endicott and Saugerties.
Oh, okay.
And I think Saugerties was up, I want to say, 8-1.
Wasn't it? Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they blow?
And the game ended 8-5. They made a push, Union Endicott, in the last inning and came up just short. But it was an entertaining game.
Am I right about the Saugerties-Port Washington game?
That was one of the first days.
Where one of them had a big lead, and
then
they lost it in the end.
I think it was a 6-run extra inning lead, something absurd. And they lost the game. But it was a really stacked pool play. We'll call it a stacked card during pool play.
Sure.
A lot of big comebacks and very entertaining games. Ground ball off the bat of Bennett Catherwood to short. High throw, but coming down on the bag was the first baseman, who may or may not have changed. It's McCormick over at short. Modeste started the game at first. He is still there.
You're right. Speaking of Port Washington, that's one of the teams that we'll be covering in West Nyack coming up, but maybe we'll see another thriller in one of their games.
Is there a team that we have never covered before in that group of 8?
There is.
Okay.
So we have New Hartford. I don't remember covering them.
Nope.
Florida.
Nope.
And from here in Staten Island, Mid-Island.
Nope. So that's 3. And the other 5?
We have Twintown. Technically, we've covered the 10U. We haven't had the 12U, but we have the 10U. Maine and Well.
Okay.
Penfield. St. James Smithtown, of course, the reigning champs, and Port Washington.
Okay. So who would be the local favorite in West Nyack? Do you know? Out of that list?
No.
No?
I would not know off the top of my head.
There's a swing and a miss by Kyle Sventoritis, and it's a quick inning for Sebastian Camacho. His team leads it by 6 as we head to the 5th.
New York State Little League Championship is proud to have Dave & Buster's as a proud sponsor. Where are you going after the game? There's only one place with delicious food, ice-cold drinks, games on the big screen, and fun for the whole family. Food and drink specials are available all week with the latest video games and the biggest arcade on the island. Redeem tokens for great prizes and come back often because Dave & Buster's is the place to be for game day and all the days in between. Turn on the fun with Dave & Buster's on Staten Island.
And we are back for the 5th inning from Great Kills. And as we approach the start of inning number 5, we would like to thank many more of our remaining sponsors for their unwavering support of this week's tournament. Special thanks to our friends at Faradot Elevator Company, Avarga Construction Company, High Tech Mechanical, Robert Director Associates, and Core 4 Construction. Those companies serve all of Staten Island and beyond, so make sure you check them out, send them a thank you, and seek their services as they have gone out of their way to bring you this tournament. There's a hard hit ground ball down the right field line. It gets away into the corner, and off to the races was Joseph Romero. He's headed for third, and he is safe beneath the tag.
He would not stop running, Joe. I thought initially he was going to stop at second base, but you mentioned the bobble out in right field allowed him to get that extra base, in my opinion. And a nice lead-up triple going the opposite way down the first base line. Get things started for South Shore here in the fifth.
So the question is, Nick, is that a single and an error, a double and an error, or a triple?
I'll give it a triple. He might have still been running even if there wasn't a bobble.
The official score has spoken.
Again, I didn't see the play.
You didn't see it?
No, you had the vantage point, so
Okay.
I wouldn't have known.
I would have given it a single and an error.
A single? I think he would have got a double.
Maybe.
You don't think he would have got a double?
Maybe. I think you could give it a double. I wouldn't give it a triple.
Okay. So
Either way, it's a hit.
So you're saying I should change it?
Well, you gave it a hit.
Well, I have to get the
Oh,
error,
you have
though.
to give an error on that, yeah. Yeah, if the ball is handled cleanly,
Okay, that's fair.
then there's no way he's on third base.
Okay.
It rolled much deeper into the corner than it should have, and that bouncer will bring home a run. Piper to first, and it's an RBI ground out for Brylan Goldberg.
Number 15.
8-1 South Shore on top.
Productive out right there for South Shore. They get the runner home from third. And we always say that, Joe. You know, with no outs or one out with a runner on, you want to at least get the ball in play to bring home that runner. And South Shore just did it right there. They're back up 7 runs.
Yeah, that's a run they were conceding, and I think that shows you where we are at this point in the game, Nick. Also, Sventoritis has reached 35 pitches. The bullpen is empty. So I think Massapequa has utilized all of the arms they intend to use tonight.
I think he will certainly be the guy that will try to get the last 5 outs of this game
Yeah.
for Massapequa.
And I think that's the right decision. Show them as few pitches as possible. Now, with the win in this game, South Shore will get Twin Town if they hold on. And leading by 7, it looks good. Game not over, but it looks good. If they move on to face Twin Town, that would match up Massapequa Coast with West Nyack. How do you feel about those two potential matchups? What are you thinking?
I'm intrigued by it because, you know, Twin Town started this tournament out hot with the win over Vestal, but the last 2 games have really not gone their way. A tough loss to Mechanicville, the game that got away pretty much early on, and they really could not come back from that one. And then the game today against West Nyack was a game in which, you know, there were chances for them in that game, but they just really couldn't get timely hits. They couldn't really score as much, and they made a couple big mishaps in the field, you know, a couple base running mishaps, I should say, that allowed West Nyack to get some all-important runs. So I think in that matchup, with them and Massapequa in terms of, or I should say for Twin Town and South Shore, it's going to be very interesting. We know the Twin Town can hit, but against this South Shore pitching staff, it's going to be very, very tough, and especially on the other side of things, their pitching staff is going to have a monstrous game against a South Shore lineup that has just been incredible. They are 1 run away from 40 runs scored in pool play just itself in these 3 games. On the other side of the matchup, Massapequa versus West Nyack, that's an interesting one as it goes to the backstop of another wild pitch. And a bounce throw will not get there in time. It's a advanced runner right there for South Shore. But I think on the other matchup, I think we're in line for maybe a pitcher's duel in that game. 2 pitching staffs have been pretty good all tournament long. Obviously, this game hasn't gotten a little bit away from Massapequa Coast, but outside of this game, they have been pitching pretty solidly so far in this pool.
Well, Nick, I'm going to tell you the kinds of losses that concern me for a team, and it's not often that you see teams that make mistakes on the bases or make errors and don't execute with runners on third and less than 2 outs. Those teams typically don't make it into the semifinal round. So we're not going to see any teams that struggled with that playing tomorrow. What does concern me is when a team loses in pool play and their losses come in games where they really struggle to score. Because if you struggle to score in pool play where you may not have seen arms 1A, 1B from a team, and then you get to the semifinal, you're almost certainly going to see pitchers who are at least that 1A or 1B caliber for a team. And if you couldn't score in pool play or struggle to score in pool play against potentially lesser arms, granted, they're all All-Stars, but there are pitchers that are going to be saved for those semifinal and championship games. If you're a team that managed to win twice, or maybe even in some cases once, and make it to the semifinal like Twin Town did, and in your losses you struggle to score, I would be really concerned about that heading into a semifinal. So that ball sliced foul, and fortunately for those Cars, it catches the netting. Very fortunately.
Thankfully, that netting is just a bit high for that one. But I'm glad you bring that up because Massapequa, in a couple of their games, and no discredit to them.
That's where I was going, Nick.
No discredit to them. There's been a couple scenarios where they haven't really hit the ball as much and as well in their games. I think, obviously, the SJS game was the best hitting performance they put on in this pool play. In Game 1, they didn't really have a lot of hits in terms of getting hits in that first game against Penfield. It really came down to that one inning, that fifth inning, and they took advantage of a couple errors in the field. They took advantage of the 3 hit batters as well. So that is definitely a concern. Massapequa, if you're a Massapequa fan, you got to see if this offense can come back to life tomorrow in a matchup with a West Nyack team that, for the most parts, has been pretty good pitching-wise.
And on the wild pitch, they get a nice bounce off the backstop, a better throw to third, and the lead runner, Cresci, is cut down.
Nice strong throw from behind the plate. Not going to guess who is behind the plate at this point.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes.
There's been a lot of changes, but still a productive out because right now South Shore, of course, a couple of runs away from maybe ending this game in the next half inning on a via run rule, but now they all have to get a 2-out rally to do that, but yeah, I think we'll see what happens tomorrow. And I think, if there's any indication, I will say, Joe, look at what happened with Vestal earlier today. They had not really been hitting the ball well in their first 2 games of pool play. And they came out today, and they really put up an impressive performance against Mechanicville Stillwater. In a game where they got the bats going, their pitching, for the most part, was really solid. But it really comes down to a team that really hadn't been hitting the ball well the first 2 days, finally got things going on the final day. Massapequa will certainly hope that that's the case tomorrow.
And I think there's no better example than Mechanicville Stillwater as to why it's so important to win your first game.
Yeah.
Because it's a game that you and I would probably argue they should have won, or at the very least should have been playing on beyond 6 innings. That game should not have ended in the 6th inning. They should have had another run home earlier.
Right.
Maybe 2.
Based off of everything that happened in that game, you had the rundown in the first inning that allowed West Nyack to get a run. You had the base running mishap in the bottom half of that first inning from pitcher Raleigh to going towards the plate that cost them a run. You had the error over at short that cost them a run, which was that insurance run later on in the inning. And it really came down to they had a chance in the bottom of the 6th. The problem was some base running mishaps cost them that game. They could have easily gotten 3 runs to tie the game, and if they hadn't given up the insurance run, it could have been a walk-off win. They are the prime example, unfortunately, for them of a team that more than likely should be 2-1 and should be in the semifinal tomorrow, but instead is 1-2 and is on the outside looking in as Twin Town makes it there.
Yeah, the base running in that first game really cost them, as another pitch to the backstop will advance both runners. But they win that game, it completely shifts how this plays out. And again, I don't like to talk so much about ifs, especially when it extends to 4 or 5 different plays in that game. But I think there being so many different plays that altered the path of that game and where we ended up, it makes that game a good example because it wasn't just one play. It was 4 or 5 different plays on the bases, in the field, and really in all aspects of the game that cost them what ultimately turned into a 1-run loss. And it probably shouldn't have been. I think that's a game that at the very least should have gone to extra innings. And with that last walk, or I should say that last pitch, there's going to be a conversation here.
Yes, Venturias was ready to give up the ball, but they're just having a talk right there. We talked about it before. He's probably in there to get the last couple outs, but right now, if you look at the situation, Joe, it's 8-1. Bases are loaded. If South Shore gets a bases-clearing hit, then they're in a chance to get the run rule in the next half inning.
Yeah, Nick, my scorecard is a mess at this point. I think we had a walk here.
You got it.
There we go.
There you go.
Man. So in the inning, we have 4 walks. and we had a triple that was initially scored a triple. I'd give it probably a
Double
double.
and an error.
Double and an error. That seems like ages ago.
I know.
With where the sunlight is gone, it feels like an hour ago.
That's true.
That one's popped up deep on the infield and caught by Piper to retire the side. For the second time, South Shore strands the bases loaded, and we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. 8-1 our score.
The Staten Island Ferry Hawks are proud to be a sponsor of this year's New York State Little League Championship, because one championship organization deserves another. Come check out another amazing season with us at Staten Island University Hospital Community Ballpark with great ticket and group deals, theme nights, and fireworks displays. Good luck to all of our teams this week from your friends at the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. We'll see you at the game.
Home fifth inning from Great Kills Little League gets started with a pitch up high. Ball one to Aiden Schmierwitz.
Well, Camacho's still out there, Joe, so I think it's going to be the same scenario for South Shore. They're going to probably keep him in to get the final 6 outs of this game.
So both teams utilizing 3 pitchers, 2 of whom for each side will require a day of rest.
It feels like that long, when you do the bullpen game in the major leagues and you have that starter that you sometimes utilize in the rotation, but you also utilize them out of the bullpen to get you some bulk innings, and that seems to be the case here tonight for these 2 pitchers.
Yeah, the new wave of MLB load management for the pitchers is the opener and the bulk reliever. The bullpen game seems like more and more of those now, as that one is lined up the middle. Base hit. Schmierwitz on to lead off the home fifth.
Schmierwitz ripping that one up the middle. Gets himself a leadoff single here at the bottom half of the fifth inning, and it's a good sight to see that at least Massapequa Coast, despite the deficit, still is fighting in this game. And I think that's something that they need to do, because even if they don't come out on top with the win and the come from behind win in this one, at least show some momentum going into tomorrow, because that's all you really can ask for at this point.
Pitch out of the zone, ball one. Matthew Ian Fola at the plate here. Ian Fola struck out looking back in the second. Well, we said it before, Nick, this game is not over. And you're at a point in the game now where you have Camacho at 46 pitches. That one fouled away. So you need to really make him work to get him out of the game, but you also need to do a lot of work to get back in it. If you do enough to get back in it and force South Shore to use another pitcher, you never really know what could happen. Definitely can't afford to make a mistake on the bases or give away any outs there.
Yeah, I think if you could force South Shore to get another pitcher into this game somehow by maybe scoring a couple runs makes it interesting.
Line drive, but right at Goldberg. He did not have to move.
And those are the loud outs that you hate right there if you're a hitter, because you put good contact on it, you think you got a base hit, and it goes right to one of the outfielders out, this time in right field for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, I call those kind of outs a bit vexing. And it looks like we're going to get a new pitcher here. So with that hard hit ball, I'm not quite sure if that had something to do with it, but Joseph Timpanelli will come in to pitch for South Shore, and we will take a break. 8-1 our score, 1 on and 1 out for Massapequa Coast in the home fifth.
This tournament would not be possible without the great support of the Staten Island Advance. Not only does the Staten Island Advance have full coverage of the tournament, but we are committed to covering Island youth sports year-round and all news close to home. Pick up the paper today and look for great subscriber deals now for our loyal readership. Visit us online at silive.com for news and photos of this week's tournament and all the breaking news on Staten Island, the nation, and the world. The news of Staten Island is the Staten Island Advance and silive.com.
And we are back working here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. 8-1 the score. Massapequa Coast looking to stage a late game comeback. South Shore looking to close out a 3-0 trip to the state championship in pool play. And Nick, it's not a very long trip for them. Won't even have to leave the island.
That's true.
I think Massapequa now has been here in 3 of the 4 tournaments we've covered here at Great Kills.
Yes.
So they weren't here last year. They were here the year before for sure. And
I felt
the first
like
year they won.
They weren't here last year?
I'm not sure. I'm asking you.
I think they were here
They
last
were?
year. Yeah.
They were? My memory is
I think it was
really shot. I've covered so many games. It's hard to
You know
believe
what?
I've
I
been
think you're
doing
right.
this 10 years.
You know what? Now I'm thinking about it, I think you're right. I don't think they were here last year.
Yeah, I think that was the case.
They were here for the first year, of course, when they won the championship. Then I don't think they made it out of pool play the next year. And then I don't think they were here last year, so I think you're right.
I think you're exactly right. Championship, eliminated in pool play, did not appear last year. Meanwhile, Matthew Therian struck out the first batter, faced by Timpanelli out of the bullpen. There's a bouncer to second. Syed has it. His throw to Modeste at first in time. And just like that, Massapequa Coast is turned aside in the 5th. South Shore to the plate, looking for some insurance, and we come back for the 6th. Unfamiliar territory for the visitors, having not played a game of longer than 4 innings. They come to bat after this break.
When it comes to sports, why be good when you can be legendary? At Legend Sporting Goods in Brooklyn, we service the community with only the best custom apparel, embroidery, and service, specializing in youth sports, so that the leaders of today become the legends of tomorrow. We're proud to support all of this week's great athletes and invite everyone to check us out and make us a part of your team. Come see why Legend Sporting Goods is in a class by itself. Visit us online or call us now.
Sixth inning getting underway from Great Kills with a pitch that ends up at the backstop for ball one. Joseph Timpanelli, the batter, also the current pitcher for South Shore. Kyle Sventuraitis still in there, and deuces a pop-up on the infield, caught it short. Therian puts it away for out number one.
You mentioned it, Joe, unfamiliar territory for South Shore in this tournament. The first time they've had to play a full 6 innings at least of this pool play. But it's been another strong showing for them. Hitting has just been there for them all game. They've been really patient in each at-bat that we've seen, and their pitching also has done a tremendous job against this Massapequa Coast lineup.
Well, Nick, I don't think you can ignore what they did offensively in their first 2 games of pool play. We've mentioned it many times already, but you and I did not cover those games, and this is the first time we've seen them. It's easy to say when they lead by 7, but I've been really impressed with their approach at the plate and how well they've hit the ball. I think it's a little bit less surprising and shocking what they did after you get to watch this team play.
Yeah, I mean, we only got our first, look at it kind of yesterday, and that's really not to say much because it was only a couple of hitters that we saw in the home run derby, so we really didn't get to see it as much as we've seen it in the first couple of days of pool play, but they have been thoroughly impressive here tonight, and it feels like everyone in the lineup, it feels like it's not one specific player that's done it. It's been everyone in this lineup has contributed in more than one way, and for the other 3 semifinalists, one of them including this Massapequa Coast team, it's going to be very, very tough to try to get past this team in the semifinals and potentially championship game if that were to be the case.
Well, shifting our attention to Massapequa Coast as that ground ball was booted. And, Nick, what I was about to say, too, is in direct contradiction to what we just saw. I think that can be chalked up to trying to turn a double play and perhaps rushing it. But what I was about to say is, even though Massapequa Coast is on the short end of this game, I was still very impressed with them during pool play as well. In their first 2 games especially, they did everything they needed to do defensively, were definitely a plus in the field, and they hit more than enough to win. They didn't win necessarily by slim margins. They did what they had to do, working a walk, especially in that first game, managing to score a bunch of runs without the benefit of a hit in a big 5th inning, but they did enough at the plate, pitched extremely well, and defended extremely well. And when you get great pitching and great defense, a lot of the time that's enough to win against a team that just came in so red hot offensively. It hasn't been enough in this game.
Yeah, it's really nothing to be ashamed of if your Massapequa Coast, you've been, fighting at this point, but the South Shore just having some really tough at-bats, have worked a lot of these counts, and it gets down to it where, I think the best case scenario for the other 3 teams is that, you at least get, you've seen what South Shore has done, you know what their tendencies can be. Now you have to figure out how can we utilize and strategize how to beat those, tendencies.
Another chance to turn 2, and not quite,
Out.
as Hagan tripped over the bag there.
I think he tripped on his leg, I thought.
Maybe, but it didn't really look like.
Yeah, it didn't look like
Schmierwitz had his foot on the base, so if Hagan tripped over his leg, he missed the base. And I definitely appreciated when I played in Little League because, let's face it, Nick, I wasn't the most fleet of foot. I like to have that orange base along the first base line.
Yeah, I just looked, by the way, I looked at it. He stepped on the base, but his left
the back leg
tripped on
the back leg.
Schmierwitz, yeah.
Got it.
That's what happened. But continue your
oh, no, I was
if you want to continue your story.
I was just saying I wasn't the most fleet of foot,
okay.
So I appreciated the ability to run outside of first base. The truth is I could get to a top speed that was respectable enough, as they will throw down to second and get the out. And petitioning for a safe call was the courtesy runner Camacho. I did not think he beat that one, and he is out. That will do it. Point is, Nick, I could get to a respectable top speed. At 5 foot 135 at 10, I couldn't slow down. That'll do it for the top of the 6th inning, and we head to the bottom half with Massapequa Coast needing 7 to keep this game going.
S Industrial is your all-in-one supply and tool store for commercial, industrial, and domestic industries. A leader in HVAC supply stores, K&S provides various building and maintenance supplies for office buildings, industrial plants, schools, homes, and more. We also specialize in getting our customers hard-to-find items. If you're looking for HVAC supply stores that also offer anything else you might need, look no further than K&S Industrial. If they make it, we'll get it. K&S Industrial.
Home sixth inning about to get underway from Great Kills Little League as we approach 9 p.m. on Staten Island.
We're about to have the throwdown right now.
This game wraps up pool play here at the 2026 10U New York State Little League Baseball Championship. Semifinals begin tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Now, Nick, the current schedule has South Shore playing in the first game, correct? The winner of this game playing first, which to me comes across as a bit odd. You don't know who's going to win the pool, as that one's hit out to straightaway left. And the catch is made. Jack Piper quickly retired on the F7 for the first out. But I guess there's going to be a team, in all likelihood, that's at a disadvantage when it comes to playing the late game and then having to play an early game. Because I guess if you were to, let's say hypothetically, you move South Shore to play second, then Massapequa Coast is at a disadvantage.
Either way, someone's not going to be as happy.
Yeah. Or, hypothetically, what you could say, again, I think a random drawing is, or like a set schedule is the fairest way. You could ask each 3-0 team and then go by tiebreaker runs allowed, which game do you want? And then they place you in that game. But, you know, when you've played different opponents, is runs allowed really a fair tiebreaker between two teams that have the same record? Is record even a fair tiebreaker between two teams in opposite pools if you wanted to give them a choice? So we've seen the schedule shift before, which is why I mentioned it. As of right now, our scheduled first game tomorrow would see South Shore, should they hold on, taking on Twin Town.
But maybe it's not the worst thing. Maybe you want to get that game out of the way.
Maybe. Maybe. For me, if I'm finished at 9 o'clock as Mason Meyer draws the walk, let's assume this game finishes within the next 10 minutes. If this game wraps up at 9 o'clock, the South Shore contingent, and even the Massapequa Coast contingent, considering I know where their hotel is, they're about 20, 25 minutes from the hotel max. South Shore likely headed home to get a good night's sleep in their own beds on Staten Island. So they're not going very far. It's not as if they have to travel an hour plus and wake up at the crack of dawn to play at 10 a.m. That being said, I've always preferred the best night's sleep possible without needing to wake by alarm. And if I have a game at 10 a.m., I'm probably waking by alarm for that game because I want to be at the field at 8 o'clock. That's just me. If I have a game, I want to be there extremely early, especially a semifinal game in a state championship. Meanwhile, South Shore making a pitching change. Ryan Cresci, the new pitcher. So he gets warm here, but again, the schedule as of right now, should South Shore hold on and win this, they take on Twin Town at 10 a.m., Massapequa Coast and West Nyack at 1 p.m. Now, when you look at those matchups, Nick, I think based upon what we've seen so far in pool play, it's fair to say that South Shore would be a sizable favorite in that game against Twin Town. Is that fair?
I would think so, but I wouldn't count out Twin Town in the sense of I think they can match the hitting of South Shore. It's going to come down to the pitching. And right now, we've seen South Shore's pitching has been almost as good as their hitting. Twin Town, meanwhile, hasn't had the best of pitching performances these last 2 days. So Twin Town definitely can hit with South Shore. It's going to come down to can they keep the game close in terms of a pitching scale.
I think another question becomes, what was the reason that Twin Town's bats were largely silenced in the game against West Nyack tonight? Because in all likelihood, West Nyack wasn't going to need the game tonight. In all likelihood. They don't know that. They're playing to win. They're giving it everything they have as we're set to resume action. But Twin Town didn't do much at the plate tonight. And I think even if they had lost, if it was a game that they swung the bats extremely well in and had some momentum at the plate, that would have served them very well heading into a matchup with a team that has been an offensive juggernaut in 3 games. At the plate here, Liam Austin. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. As we mentioned before, Ryan Cresci, the new pitcher, he misses high, 2-1. Two one. Hit in the air, left field. Falling fast, base hit. And the throw to second is not in time. Close play. But it looked like both outfielders expected the other to grab it, and you could see the frustration out there for South Shore.
Yeah, certainly some confusion right there. And left and center field for South Shore. Not, although the traditional, I got it, maybe the other did not hear it. And because of that, it led to the ball just dropping in between them. Massapequa Coast now with first and second, still just 1 out in the inning.
Nick, we've said it so many times about the final game of pool play.
This would be certainly something. Keep in mind, we talked about it earlier, Massapequa Coast forcing South Shore to use another pitcher in this game as well.
Pitch inside, 2-0. Way high and outside. And now, Cresci is just 1 pitch away from loading the bases. (3-0). Swung on and missed.
Got the green light right there.
That pitch high. Ball 4.
Get those rally caps going if you're Massapequa Coast, Joe. They got the bases loaded, still just the 1 out in the inning.
Can't help but notice as soon as we started talking potential schedule, Massapequa Coast put the brakes on that conversation and said, we still have 2 outs to play with.
And they're back to the top of the lineup, keep in mind as well.
Frank Thomas to the plate. Left-handed batter, 0 for 2 thus far. Ball 1. At what point, Nick, do you start to believe it could happen? I think you'd need to see tying run to the plate maybe with 1 out.
I think if they can get a base-clearing hit right here, we got something brewing.
There's a strike taken, 1-1.
Thomas can go down the right field line, get it into the corner.
If he could walk,
that's also true.
he did his job. 1-1 hit in the air. And it's going to stay playable. Infield fly called.
There
2 away.
You and I hadn't seen an infield fly until now.
Well, you could argue we've seen 2.
That's also true. That's also true. That's an official one, if you want to call it that.
Massapequa down to their final out.
Looking for one of the more crazier 2-out rallies we've seen in recent memory.
First pitch high to Christian Buckman, ball 1. Once again, semifinals tomorrow begin at 10 a.m. As of now, should this score hold, that would be South Shore and Twin Town. All semifinal matchups on the senior minor field. So Nick and I are going to clear out our perch here in right field for the final time and bid farewell until next year. 1-1. Moment inside. Have to admit, Nick, when the weather is like this, I prefer calling the game out here.
Easily.
It's not even close. And the reason why is the sight lines in the press box.
Yeah.
It is really, really tight up there. Count now 3-1.
Especially on a night like tonight. You know, the first 2 days, you know, the weather was good. Today started off a bit bad because of, you know, it was a little bit warm, not much of a breeze, but it's gotten a lot more breezier here tonight. Here comes 3-1.
In for a strike, 3-2. Massapequa down to their final strike. It's merry-go-round time, Nick.
Indeed it is.
Payoff pitch. Hit well. Left center and caught. Lecce made it look easy. And that will do it for Massapequa Coast. South Shore improves to 3-0. Both teams move on to the semifinal tomorrow. And Nick, I think for South Shore against a team that came in with 2 wins, a team that had allowed just 1 run, even though it took 6 innings for the first time in pool play, I think this is still a statement win for South Shore.
Yeah, I mean, they had 10 hits, Joe, going into the 4th inning. They had really just been impressive in this game and in the entirety of the tournament. A 5-run 3rd inning really broke this game open, and that was the difference of this game in its entirety. Their pitching staff has been strong as well. They've only allowed 4 runs at the end of pool play now going into tomorrow's semifinal. But their bats have really shown a lot of patience, made some great plays in the field as well. And now we get to see what happens. You know, Twin Town will have an opportunity to maybe pull off what some might be able to consider, say, an upset tomorrow if they're able to knock off South Shore in one of the semifinal matchups. And then on the other side, there's from Massapequa Coast. Yes, this is a tough loss. It got away from you early. But I think the beauty of it is at least you know what you're going to endure and what you have to do differently against South Shore if you were to meet them back in the championship game. But you have to focus on now another different 3-0 team at West Nyack. That game, in my opinion, Joe, will be a really tight, close game just because of how those 2 pitching staffs have been for the majority of this pool play.
And that will do it for pool play. Once again, South Shore knocks off Massapequa Coast 8-1. South Shore will open semifinal play tomorrow against Twin Town. As Nick mentioned, Massapequa Coast matches up with West Nyack in our second semifinal matchup at 1 p.m. For everyone who has joined us throughout pool play and will continue to join us through tomorrow's semifinal and Friday's championship, thank you for watching. Once again, our final score tonight, 8-1 South Shore over Massapequa Coast. This has been Joe Foreman alongside Nicholas Pavona on the call. We'll catch you all tomorrow at 10 a.m.